first one that we'll talk about is the 5 essential steps to making money on social media. If you miss out on any one of these steps, and the reason why I say this is because I've done this so many times, I've seen it with so many different people over and over and over, and people try to skip certain steps, and every single time they do, it always ends up looking weird. It's like you can make a cake, right? If you make a cake, and I tell you, this is the recipe for the cake, but you're like, yeah, it's a good recipe, but forget the eggs, I don't eat eggs. That cake's gonna come out looking all weird, or like it's gonna taste different. It's not gonna be the same. So this is pretty much the recipe that you guys will require to create, to actually make money on social media. We'll put dollars in your pocket, you need all these things. So the first one that you'll see on the list there is traffic. Traffic is insanely important. I think this is where a lot of people kind of get stuck too. There's 3 different ways that you can get traffic, and you might actually want to take these notes down. I have a video on it actually on my YouTube channels, but the 3 main ways that you can get traffic is socializing, just by straight up talking to people, saying, hey, this is what I do, I'd like to talk to you more. The second main way is, and you'd want to start off with socializing. If you're just starting your business for the first time, and you have never shared this business idea with anyone, you don't know what they think about it, how people are going to react, start off by promoting your business with socializing. The second one that you want to start off with to get traffic after that, after you've gotten people's opinions, heard more information from people, seen what their reactions are like, once you really solidify your product, your business, and what you're going to do with it, then you want to move over to something like joint ventures. So let's say they have a different product. They don't necessarily sell the same product that you do, but they sell beauty products. So it's very much related, but you guys aren't in competition, right? What you could then do is connect with each other, give them a call and say, hey, we have very similar product bases. I would like to take your product, sell it on mine, and vice versa, right? You don't even have to necessarily sell products. You can just promote each other. And in itself, that's one of the most powerful ways, because you immediately leverage the other person's influence. You don't just leverage their followers, you leverage the fact that they've taken time to build that following. They've taken time to build that trust with their audience. And you can basically, with one shout out, go in and leverage that. The one thing I will say is that a lot of people forget when they're going to do joint ventures that you have to be relatively established to do a joint venture. So before you're going to go out and partner with another company and ask them for favors and ask them to promote, make sure that you have something to help them with too. Make sure you actually have an audience, you know your product, because the last thing you want to do is start going out to people, talking to people, sharing your product that's not ready yet, right? Or you have, say, 10 followers, and you're going up to somebody who has 10,000, and you say, hey, can we do a joint venture? You're not adding a lot of value to them, right? So it's good to kind of coordinate with people who are in a similar position. Like, if you see here, I have like 20,000 followers. I wouldn't go to someone who has 1 million and ask for a shout out. But I would go to someone who has 15,000, 20,000, 25,000 and ask them for a shout out. Because if I shout them out, they'll get the same amount of value. And then the third way to get traffic is advertising, so paid advertising. I think that's the one that people are most familiar with. The only problem with paid advertising, though, is that it's paid, right? You have to pay. And you have to measure those conversions really strongly afterwards, right? You can't just be throwing money down the drain. Like, if you're going to be doing paid advertising, that's at the point where you really know your stuff and you've had previous success in selling products. That would be kind of the final step. Okay, so after traffic, hey, how you doing? What's your name? Raymond. What's your name? We literally just started, so you're good. Traffic. The next one that you can write down under traffic is branding. You can have as many people you want see you, and you have all the traffic in the world, but if people hit your page and they don't know who you are, why you're important, and exactly where to go to connect with you, they're going to be lost, confused, and they'll move on to some of the other noise that's going on in the world. Right? But yeah, the branding is, again, very, very important, because that's what when people see you for the first time, that's what's going to make that impression on them. When I say branding, what I mean is like your bio, the background, anything that would create the actual visual style that your page will hold. The next one below branding is content. See, this is another huge thing where a lot of people go wrong. I'm going to show you some really cool content strategies too. But the thing with content that I find that most people do wrong is they fail to be consistent with it. There's so much noise in the digital world right now, right? Like, to get yourself noticed amongst millions and billions of people trying to compete for that attention is very difficult. And people say, well, I don't know, like, I don't really have anything different about me. How am I supposed to compete with this person, right? Honestly, 9 times out of 10, if you are consistent with your content, you'll win. You'll win, because most people can't stay consistent. And when I say consistent, I'm talking about like 5 times a day minimum of posting online, right? Because you gotta think about it like this, and I'm just gonna draw you out something. This is really why content and consistent content is so important, okay? So whenever somebody like is about to make a decision to purchase something, let's say it's like a coffee, right? Let's say this is their spinal cord. The impulse will go up that spinal cord, and then it will make a decision based on the association that it has for coffee. So you have Starbucks, Tim Hortons, right? Tim Hortons, second cup, and I literally have no other associations. McDonald's, there we go, okay, cool. Okay, so when someone's about to make a decision, here's what happens. The impulse comes up the spine, right? And it goes into that choice area of the brain. And then what happens is there's several sets of strands associated with each of these concepts, right? Now, strands are developed by 2 things. Emotion, and sorry for the writing. You might not even want to write this down because it's just good stuff to. I'm so sorry for this writing. I'm just trying to write on this thing. Emotion and repetition. So, a lot of people think that like humans, we're so logical, right? We're actually the opposite. We're not logical at all. Everything that we do is based on gaining pleasure or avoiding pain, right? So, a lot of these neurostrands and associations are based on pleasure-based experiences. So, if you want somebody to actually, let's say you are Starbucks, right, and you want people to buy from you, every time you have an experience or an association with Starbucks or Tim Hortons or Second Cup or McDonald's, what's going to happen is a neural strand is going to develop. Even me talking right now, like you guys, everything that's happening is being processed and stored in your brain, right, based on how pleasurable it is and based on how many times you've had it repeated. So if Starbucks, let's say if you walk around and you see like a Starbucks, right? You go, okay, I see Starbucks. I had a Starbucks. That's my experience with it. Then you walk by and you see a Tim Hortons sign, right? Get like a little strand there. Then you walk by and you see a Second Cup. You see maybe a Second Cup advertisement on TV. Then you see a McDonald's advertisement on TV, but this advertisement was like really powerful. It really made you feel something. So that one would look a little bit thicker, right? But now let's say you're on social media and every single day Starbucks is posting 5 times a day. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then Tim Hortons, no, they're not posting. Second Cup, maybe they post once. McDonald's, they post once, right? Then the next day Starbucks posts again, 5 times, right? And they post once. Look at the size of that neural strand in the association towards that person in that brain. When that electrical impulse comes up, it will basically be sucked into that, and that person will literally, subconsciously, will look at that and go, I want Starbucks. And they won't know why, because every decision that you make is subconscious. It's based on the emotional programming that you put in you. So my point in this is that when it comes to content, that is what content is for. Right? You're talking about you want to be an influencer. You want people to look to you, to associate you as the expert. Right? If you have repetitive expert things and repetitive positive emotional experiences that people can associate towards you, next time they have, if they associate this with coffee, or if they associate it with like cosmetics, for example, right? Next time they go to think about coffee, this is connected, right? So that the first thing that they'll do is like, okay, I need Starbucks. You need to do this with your companies, with your brands, with your products, and with your personal brand itself, so that next time, like when people, for example, when Carmen called me, there's probably been multiple experiences in which I have said online, guys, I do speaking engagements, this is what I do. I release pictures that make people feel what it would feel like to be at an event with me. And then I repeat that, and I repeat that, and I repeat that, so that literally no one has any choice but to call me if they need to speak, or call me if they have something social media related. Like, it may sound like it's mind control, because that's kind of what it is, but like, that's what these companies are doing to us. We don't necessarily notice. When you see